because it's our first edition of WWR, Wandering Ways Review.
Not to confuse with WWW, the World Wide Web.
No.
WWR with the reference.
Yeah. No, yeah, this reverence review of Olympic National Park. We got a bunch of different categories, and then we will hit you with the overall at the end.
What is our first category, sir?
Yeah, and we'll describe the categories too, how we will be describing or judging these parks based on these categories, right?
Oh, so, and we gotta let people know, right? It's our personal bias.
Yes.
So based on our experiences in the park, our stories are this. It is who we are. We are two guys in their 20s doing this. You know, I encourage those who are older or younger than us or in between. I don't care. Just know that, because that's where it's coming from. We try and do our best to explain for everybody, but that is where our narrative is created.
Exactly. And but the first category of this WWR is the awe factor, right?
For Olympic National Park.
Olympic National Park. What awe factor is, it's just like that when you get in and you're like, whoa. That, like, you're saying a whoa, audible whoa.
Well, I think to let our viewers know too, Tyler, for example, right, when he was in the Redwoods, that was that whoa factor. The oh my God, what, I can't believe. So that's kind of where this is generated from, is that type of experience.
Yeah. And so for Olympic National Park, the awe factor, I'm going to give it like 3.5 for the awe factor.
Really?
Yeah. Part of it's because I'm from the Oregon coast. So I've seen that beach before.
Bias.
Yeah. But, you know, it's off my experiences. So I get that, right? The forests are super cool, super, super cool. But it wasn't like, I was like, wow. But I wasn't like, whoa, or like, oh my gosh type deal.
More mind blown.
Yeah, 3.5 stars. Next category is the crowds. What's the crowd situation like, right? So if we have more stars on this one, means the crowds aren't that big.
All right.
Yeah.
Big crowd, small star, or rating.
Big. Yeah. So crowds, if it's an issue, it's a low star. If it's not an issue, it's big stars.
All right.
And for this one, honestly, like 4 stars.
You think not a lot of crowds, but you've also been there before, and I'm curious, is that still stand when you went on that big trip?
No, that's true too, right? So I am judging it off of this trip, not the last trip I went on, because that would be different ratings. This one, it's like, it would probably be like 3.5, 4, because Hurricane Ridge gets a lot more people, because that's like in Port Angeles.
Okay.
This one, there were some crowds at the Solduck Falls, but as soon as you got away from that, I didn't see like anybody. So at that Deer Lake, that lake, saw no one. When I got up to the Appleton Pass, just me, you know, but there are some in the hot spots, and there was a decent amount of people. It wasn't crazy. It didn't like, it's not like, you know, the big parks type crowds. So 4 stars for me on this trip on the crowds.
Nice.
Next category is the chance of seeing some wildlife. What's your wildlife possibility? Are you going to see some on this? So higher stars means you probably most definitely are going to see some wildlife. Lower stars, not so much.
Yeah. And I think I like that. I like how you have that with the way you're saying it, because I think that a true 5-star is going to be one of those parks where, there are parks, national parks, that you will see the animals because they are there.
Yeah.
That given fact. So
And yeah, definitely. And for this park, um, it's 1 star. One star.
wow.
Yeah. You're in the forest. There's a lot going on.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I definitely thought I was going to see a bear because of all the wild blueberries and all of that, but it didn't. And I didn't even really see anything outside squirrels or signs of bears or anything. So for me, it's like one star.
You did see the jellies.
That's true. I did see the jellies, which I mean, I guess 1.5 because the 1.5 because the jellies were that cool.
Cool.
Next category is accessibility. So is this accessible for, or do I think, or we think that this is accessible for everybody? Then we're talking 5 stars. If you got to be like a trained mountaineer, wild man, you're on that show alone, probably looking at a 1 star there.
Right. You're backpacking Antarctica by yourself. Yeah, 1 star.
Yeah, that's like a 1 star. Or
Yeah,
towards that, whereas the 0 stars really for that one. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
for this one, I'm actually going to give it 4 stars because in that valley you have that resort and you can go to the Solduck Falls pretty easy. Um, that's why I give it the 4 stars, because if you just want to get away out in nature and you're not that fit, you can do this no problem. Easy peasy, 4 stars. But outside of that one hike there and the 2 small ones in the Hoh rainforest, I mean, you got to be kind of a little bit more ready to go up and do some like hiking. You got to be able to hike, but you don't have to be like a marathon athlete or anything.
All right. I like it. I like it.
Next category is camping. What's
Okay.
the camping situation like in these parks? Not all parks, we've really camped in the parks themselves. So sometimes it's going to be hard to judge. Fortunately, this time did camp in the park. And I'm going to be honest, the campsite I was at, not very good. So I'm only giving it 2 stars.
Oh yeah. Why not that good?
Um, the actual campsite I had, there's like only one spot to hang up my hammock. And actually, unfortunately, due to the excess of bugs, I decided to set up my tent just to stay out of the bugs. And there was not a single good spot to put my tent in this one camp
Oh,
spot.
that's
So, I was like literally right next to the fire ring. Unfortunately, that wasn't an issue because there's a fire ban due to the wildfires. So, having it that close to the fire ring was not an issue this time. But if I wanted to have a campfire during times you can, it would have been a little dicey getting my tent on fire.
I get you. I get you. That's why you got to get the Rougarou, man, and just be able to find one tree and put your hammock
No,
right up.
see, what I need is a mosquito net or something.
Oh,
Because you should have seen me after I was just covered in bugs.
I feel you.
You're in the forest, you're going to get bugs.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Next category is hikes. What are the hikes like? These hikes were tough. They were like all uphill, like steady uphill, but not like crazy. And they were awesome. So I mean, I'm giving it 4.5 stars.
Okay.
You know,
My question with the hikes that I think our viewers will have is, are we the amount of hikes, the opportunity of hikes? Because like you go to some parks like Cuyahoga in Ohio, there's not as many cool hikes, or Indiana sand dunes.
no, that's important to factor in.
And I think that is something to factor in. Like, is there a good amount of hikes in Olympic? Were you able to pick and choose from a lot?
No, to tell you the truth, not really. There are not a whole lot of. It's a lot of going on the same trail, but there's a lot of stops on the way, right? So you can either stop at one spot, call it good, or you can keep going.
That's good. Well, that's nice.
So that's nice. But in reality, there's not a lot of like different ones you can do compared to other parks. But they were still great hikes, fantastic hikes.
No, and I think that that's something to factor in because like you go to Devil's Tower, right? What's the
Yeah,
hiking situation? Like I think I would rank it a two because like, well, it's still cool. You're in a really cool spot. You're walking around Devil's Tower, but I think that's all they have to offer,
yeah,
which is
no,
cool, but it is
no,
what it is.
100% there. Last category before I give the overall rating is what's Bigfoot possibility?
Oh, I think this one's a good one, huh?
Yeah, what's our chances of seeing Bigfoot? Honestly, after going to that whole rainforest and doing the Little Bigs hikes, I think the Bigfoot possibility is pretty high up in the Olympics. I
Uh,
would, I would actually be not be surprised if he was out there. Flat Bigfoot is a thing. The reason we don't see him is because he turns to the side and he's flat, so he's invisible. We only ever see the one angle of Bigfoot. So as soon as he turns, right, can't see him because he's so thin.
Flat Stanley, right? In that book.
The flat Bigfoot theory, throw out that flat Earth theory. Flat Bigfoot's in. I still think he's out there. So I'm giving the Bigfoot possibility a 5 out of 5 stars.
I love it. Throw the flat Earth out and throw the flat Bigfoot in, and that is where he's at. I
Yes,
love it.
he's
Well,
there.
I've heard stories. So I've heard stories from people, some tribal members in that area. They were like, "No, he took a dog of mine." So, all
uh,
right.
so this gets to the big one, right? The overall rating for Olympic National Park. Uh, I loved it the first time I went. I still love it this time. I'm giving it the 4 out of 5 stars for overall. It's a great park. I think everybody, if you're in that area, go check it out. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. I think the
I
accessibility
love it.
is good. So